"I'm leaving," I announced firmly. "And don't expect me to return," my wife replied sharply. Usually, I'd retort with a heated remark as I walked out, but today I chose more measured parting words. We've exchanged similar harsh words over our 12 years of marriage, but this time, I won't return in a few days. She'll soon understand my intent. Over the past 6 months, my wife, Laura, became increasingly critical, her words cutting deeply. I couldn't pinpoint why. Her sharp comments, to put it mildly, hurt. I began avoiding her to prevent conflicts from escalating. Each day, I'd linger longer in the car. Sometimes I'd return home after Laura and our 14-year-old daughter, Sophie, had eaten dinner. I had to prioritize my well-being. Sometimes there were leftovers, but recently they seemed to vanish before I got back. My name's Mark Kowalski, technically Michael Mark Kowalski, but my father's also a Michael, so they called me Mark from the start to avoid confusion. No, not a junior. Dad's Michael James Kowalski. Why he didn't use the junior title, I'll never know. I'd gladly answer to Junior or even MJ, but no, just Mark. Or Mike. Yes, I'm Polish. Well, partly. An American with Polish heritage. I've heard most of the jokes, or so I thought. They keep inventing new ones. As the only Pole I know besides Dad in this town of 15,000, I'm often the target. Technically, I'm half Polish. Mom's side is German, Scottish, and Welsh, but since I'm a Kowalski, I'm labeled Polish. My soon-to-be ex-wife isn't who I believed her to be. I discovered this 3 weeks ago. As I mentioned, I'd been steering clear of her due to her harshness. One Tuesday evening, after skipping dinner at home, I visited a cafe. Sitting in a booth, preparing to order, I overheard 2 men talking in the next booth. A phrase about a Pole caught my attention, so I listened. "How long you been with her?" "Since their wedding. I even saw her on their big day, and he's got no clue," the first voice said, unfamiliar. But the second voice I recognized, my best friend, Tom Riley. I froze. They continued talking, but I barely registered anything until Tom said, "Yeah, we meet up at least once a month. Mark's so oblivious, he's none the wiser." Pure chance. The waitress arrived to take my order. Quietly, I said, "Sorry, I've got to go," and left, ensuring they didn't see me. I couldn't process it. Laura, my wife, with my best friend, the man who stood beside me at our wedding. He's also my trusted mechanic, and that won't change soon. Well, not my mechanic officially, more like a dedicated contractor I rely on exclusively to maintain and inspect all my vehicles. If you're curious, I own a used car dealership. Yes, I'm a used car salesman. Heard all the jabs, but business is thriving. People trust they're getting quality cars at fair prices, and if issues arise, I resolve them. Tom's always been an excellent mechanic, and I keep him busy and well paid. I considered hiring him full-time, but he joked about losing respect if he worked for a Pole. Said it lightly, but I sensed he meant it. Still, I took him on as a contractor, though he wasn't truly independent. He relied on me for his income. That reliance will be his downfall. Leaving the cafe, I drove aimlessly, questioning what I'd heard. Was it true, or just Tom's bravado? I could have hired a private investigator, but if their meetings were infrequent, it might be a waste of money. Instead, I decided to check Laura's phone and email. At home, Laura acted normally, fine by me. I needed answers before confronting her. When she fell asleep, I checked her email. Nothing unusual. Her phone was locked, but it didn't take long to guess the code. Sophie's birth date. I found a few vague messages, but nothing from Tom. His name in her contacts wasn't odd. He's my friend, after all. Maybe he was just boasting, I thought. But Laura's recent behavior suggested something was off. Perhaps not with Tom, but someone. I went to bed restless, finally dozing off past 2:17 a.m. The next day at the dealership, Tom made his usual Polish jokes. I'd typically shrug them off, but today I snapped, "Tom, what do you know about Poland? Bet you couldn't find it on a map to save your life. You call Poles slow, but I'm sure they could point to the U.S., maybe even our state. Get to work." Tom looked stunned, speechless. He knew I'd caught on to something. He's not book smart, great with engines, not academics. That's why we were friends in high school. I'd help him study, ensuring he graduated. Now, I'm rethinking that friendship. He got me reflecting on choosing a spouse. In my office, door closed, I pondered how to gather proof. Confronting them directly wouldn't work. They'd deny it. I needed evidence. I called a PI in Boise explaining my concerns. He said surveillance would be costly given their rare meetings. You could track her phone to know its location or install cameras at home, but unless they're high-end, meaning expensive, they'll likely be noticed. Even with good gear, if she's cautious, she'll spot them. I'd track her phone and hope to catch them in the act, he advised, recommending a tracking app and declining payment. It's all online anyway, he said. Still, your advice is worth something. Expect a check, I insisted. If you're ever in Riverbend, stop by Kowalski's lot. He replied, I don't often come that way, but if I do, I'll visit. I sensed he meant it. Much of my sales success comes from making people feel valued. I learned early that people crave recognition. I chose the tracking software to save money and avoid cameras Laura might notice. That night, when everyone was asleep, I installed the app on her phone, syncing it to mine. It had run discreetly. I slept well for the first time in days. The next day at work, I monitored the app. Laura worked part-time at the local college library 10 to 15 hours a week. She called her income fun money spent on hobbies. She visited the grocery store, then returned home. Tom was home most of the day, but when Laura was out, he was working. That day, at least, nothing happened. That evening, I tried being kinder to Laura and Sophie, suggesting a family dinner out. Laura responded cautiously. Sophie, a typical teen, hesitated but joined us. Dinner went well. I mentioned Tom casually. Laura shifted uncomfortably, quickly changing the topic, fueling my suspicions. I needed to verify Tom's claims. That night I avoided checking her phone. My attempts to view her calls or texts yielded nothing. Either she deleted them or made none. In bed, I said, "Thanks for coming to dinner, Laura." "Thank you, Mark. It was nice," she replied, meeting my gaze. "Maybe tonight could be special. It's been a while." We hadn't been close lately, as I mentioned. After her evening routine, Laura joined me in bed. I felt torn. If she'd been unfaithful, did I want closeness? I decided to let her lead. I wouldn't initiate until I had proof. We were affectionate, but it felt routine. No need for details. At least I found some comfort. All week I tracked her phone. Nothing unusual. Saturday night, while she slept, I checked her phone again. No messages or calls. I nearly convinced myself Tom was exaggerating, as he'd done since high school. I tossed and turned, my mind refusing sleep. At 1:47 a.m., I went downstairs for a drink, hoping to relax. With a glass of whiskey and soda in one hand and her phone in the other, I checked it again, using Sophie's birth date. Opening the home page, it hit me. Sophie's birth date was the key. Laura's pregnancy had been tough. We nearly lost Sophie due to complications with her Rh factor not matching Laura's. Laura spent the final month bedridden to ensure a safe delivery. Sophie was born exactly 9 months after our wedding. We were overjoyed at her health, but she was a challenging baby. Constant crying, poor sleep, and feeding struggles. It was exhausting. In Sophie's 3rd year, Laura firmly said no more children. It disappointed me, but the baby had drained much of our joy. I noted she was born 9 months after our wedding, a so-called wedding night baby, conceived that night or during the honeymoon. Then it struck me, if Tom's story was true, Laura might have been pregnant before our wedding. Laura was on birth control. We were active before marriage. It was part of our relationship. The doctor suggested wedding stress might have disrupted her hormones, reducing the pill's effectiveness. If they failed that night, they could have failed earlier. Now I knew my next step. There was a chance I wasn't Sophie's father. You know the saying, the early bird gets the worm? Well, Tom might have been the early bird, but here, The early worm caught the trouble. I went to the bathroom, grabbed cotton swabs. Sophie was asleep. She'd finally settled into a good sleep routine at 5. Before that, it was tough. She lay snoring, mouth open. I gently swabbed her cheek. She didn't stir. I sealed it in a bag, then swabbed myself. Even if Sophie was mine, questions about Laura's loyalty remained. I'd deal with those later. Sunday meant chores. We each had tasks. I kept my distance from Laura and Sophie to control my emotions. I was eager to confirm my suspicions, but doubted myself all day. "Something on your mind, Mark?" Laura asked. I needed a quick answer. Planning to buy cars at the next auction to stock the lot. Funds might be tight until sales pick up. "Just don't overextend," she said, always calling the business ours, though it's mine. I set it up separately to protect my finances. Living in a close-knit community, I didn't want business risks affecting my personal life. "I'm thinking of paying off the credit cards, keeping just one to boost our credit," I said, masking my true plan in case she later questioned it. "Do what's best." The idea hit me suddenly. Your mind works wonders when you let it. It'd limit fallout if my suspicions were correct. Monday morning, I took the samples to Riverbend Community College, speaking with the science department. They directed me to the department head, who welcomed the task. I gave him business cards, offering a 10% discount to anyone involved. He seemed grateful. "I've been wanting a new car to replace my sedan. Might stop by your lot." "Thanks, I'll keep that in mind," I replied. Leaving, I smiled, but worry lingered. The results could end my marriage. When I told Laura about buying cars, it was a cover for my troubled thoughts, but the idea grew. I called Paul, my accountant and occasional salesman, into my office, sharing my plans. "We'll make it work," I said. "Also, Paul, I want to pay off the house mortgage. Can we arrange a lump sum payment?" "Let me run the numbers and get back after lunch," he said, leaving. I considered contacting my lawyer for a family law referral, but paused. Wait for the results first. I had no solid proof of betrayal yet. After lunch, Paul showed me the spreadsheet, and we planned next steps for both ideas. The next 2 days dragged, each moment heavy with anticipation for the DNA results. Late Wednesday, the department head called, confirming the outcome and arranging to visit about a car. When he arrived, I led him to my office. His face said it all before he spoke. "The samples aren't related," he confirmed. I nodded, the news hitting hard, though expected. He gave me a moment, then handed me the results envelope. Looking up, I shifted gears. "So, about that car you're considering?" "Might sound typical, but I'm turning 50, eyeing a sports car, maybe a Toyota MR2. I didn't have one, but promised to check the auction next day for a good one." "I'll call this afternoon with updates," I said. As he left, I told Anna I might leave early, but was reachable. I knew she wouldn't call. She rarely needed me. Driving through Riverbend, everything felt different. I called my lawyer, who, though sympathetic, referred me to a trusted colleague. After, I booked an evening appointment for the next day. Over a meal at a diner, I reflected. Had I wasted 13 years? I couldn't even claim a biological child from this marriage. I still saw Sophie as my daughter, but she wasn't mine biologically. What next? I couldn't ignore it anymore. I'd suspected before, but now there was no going back. One thing was certain. Tom would face consequences. It didn't matter that he'd been my closest friend. With friends like him, who needs enemies? Laura, too, would face repercussions. Did she know Sophie wasn't mine? Even if not, she hid her disloyalty from our wedding day with my best man, my supposed friend. I had no reason to doubt what I'd overheard. She met him at least once monthly. Anger surged, and before it overwhelmed me, I needed solitude. I should have called Laura, saying I wouldn't be home, but going back wasn't an option. I feared losing control. She answered my call. "Hello, Mark." "Hey, I'm staying in Spokane tonight to prep for tomorrow's auction at 8. "Oh," she said flatly. "Okay, safe trip." I rarely went to Spokane for auctions, so this was unusual. I wondered if she'd use my absence. She'd need an excuse to leave Sophie with my parents. Not easy to justify. I'd check her phone tracker periodically to see if she went elsewhere. I drove to Spokane, planning to buy at least 20 cars, including an MR2. I arranged pickup and delivery to my lot post-auction. The dilemma was who'd inspect them. Tom wouldn't get more work from me after his current tasks. Hearing I'd bought 24 cars, he'd likely see dollar signs and inflate fees. Not happening. I'd keep it quiet until the last moment. I needed to find a reliable mechanic through a local auction contact to inspect them before shipping to Riverbend. Arriving in Spokane by 9 a.m., I checked into a budget hotel. As the owner, I couldn't justify a lavish one on company funds. The room and bed were comfortable, simple, like my needs. Entering, I checked Laura's tracker. Her phone was still home. Sleep was hard. I couldn't stop thinking about her actions and motives. How could she justify her betrayal, especially on our wedding day, and continue it? I began reevaluating our marriage. It wasn't perfect, but I thought our love was exclusive. Now I saw it was flawed from the start. Early after the wedding, things weren't smooth. We hadn't planned a baby so soon. Our goal was to wait 3 years for kids. We'd agreed on 2 children before marrying. Sophie's arrival disrupted that. Learning my best friend caused this made our struggles feel pointless. 13 years of effort seemed wasted. Despite good times, this truth overshadowed them. If Laura hadn't been involved with Tom, maybe she'd have conceived with me. Maybe her pregnancy wouldn't have been so hard, and we wouldn't have had such a difficult child, leading her to refuse more kids. Tom ruined my life when he pursued my fiancée on our wedding day. Now he meets her monthly, likely mocking me, the clueless Pole. He must face consequences, I thought, lying down, trying to calm myself. Anger flared again. I needed composure to sleep. I turned on the TV, watched a light comedy. Laughter helped, and by 11 o'clock I dozed off, ready for a busy day. The auction went well. I secured great cars at good prices and connected with Spokane dealers. No MR2s, but 2 dealers had one each, blue and silver. I negotiated deals pending my client's color preference. Both agreed, saying they'd handle it once I shared my lot's inventory. I should have attended this auction more. Networking with peers inspired me to grow my business and distracted me from personal woes. That afternoon, meeting the lawyer, the news wasn't great. I risked losing half my assets plus alimony and child support for a child not mine. I decided against divorce for now. Paying off the house mortgage, Laura could stay there, but with only my name on it, she couldn't sell it. By covering taxes and utilities while living elsewhere, she couldn't claim the house. I needed to protect my business. Though a corporation without safeguards, I could lose it. Consulting my business lawyer was next. Returning home exhausted, I told Laura, I'm beat. Showering and going to bed. Want dinner? She asked. No, ate late, I replied. At least she asked. The shower felt cleansing, easing my troubles. Though issues remained, planning solutions helped. Minutes after lying down, I slept. The past week was taxing, but with a plan, I found relief. Up early, refreshed, I went to the office before Laura or Sophie woke. Among reports, I planned my moves. I told Paul about the 23 cars and instructed Anna to stop giving Tom work, stressing secrecy. She looked curious. You're the boss, she said. Thanks, Anna. You're invaluable. At 9 o'clock, I called my business lawyer. Your business is registered, but she could force a sale for half its value. Consider selling proactively, he advised. I can't. It's my life, I said. Let me think and call you by week's end. The news hit hard. I'd built my business like a child. Unlike Sophie, I thought bitterly. Rage surfaced, but as a businessman I compartmentalized, focusing on work. First, I called Doug, confirming Tom's story. Doug, Mark Kowalski, found 2 MR2s, blue or silver. Interested if the price works? Which color? Let me show both, then we'll talk numbers. Even if we don't agree, I'll sell it fast. Your pick. Blue's sharp but fades. Silver's sleek but hot. Garage it. Yes. Blue then, Monday or Tuesday. Perfect. Call when here. I called the blue MR2 dealer negotiating a trade. He liked a sedan on my lot, unsold for months, better suited for a bigger city. Meanwhile, Tom arrived, cars still needing repairs. His flexible contractor schedule fit my needs. Despite my anger, hearing salespeople discuss the 23 cars, Tom asked, "Mark, when do these auction cars arrive?" "Need to plan repairs." "They'll deliver late next week or early the following," I said, hiding my fury with a chuckle as he left. That weekend, I avoided Laura, focusing on chores and errands. Her phone tracker didn't matter anymore. I felt only disdain. Raising another man's child was unforgivable. Monday, I traded the sedan for the MR2, driving to Spokane to finalize. "Lunch when you arrive?" the dealer offered. I told Anna I'd be gone all day. "Got it, boss," she said. Her reliability deserved a raise. The trip and lunch built a new connection with the dealer. Driving the MR2 back, wind in my hair, I felt free. I decided to buy a silver car, didn't need more than a two-seater. Pulling into the driveway, Laura and Sophie looked out, stepping outside. "Why this car, honey?" "We need space for Sophie," Laura said condescendingly. "Got it in Spokane for a client. Want a ride?" "No, I don't like small cars," she said dismissively. "Sophie?" "No, Dad. I get enough grief for my last name. Don't want to be seen with a Polish car salesman." Her words stung. Teen bluntness. But where'd this disrespect come from? Looking at Laura, I saw she brushed it off. Both women in my house disrespected me. Teens aren't always close, but her tone questioned my family's authenticity. "Going for another drive. Back soon," I said, reversing out. Frustrated, I drove Riverbend's roads, returning at 9:30. I showered and went to bed. After my shower, Laura entered, light glaring. I squinted. "Sulking because we didn't like your sports car? Won't you spend time with family? You're not just Polish, you're immature," she snapped. Her sudden shift confused me. I sensed Tom's influence. She'd passed her disregard for my heritage to Sophie, who wasn't even mine, though I'd raised her. "Seems you and your daughter don't want to pole around, so maybe I should leave," I shot back, heated. Her attitude fueled my anger. She'd regret this. From then, the Kowalski home grew tense and quiet. Tuesday, I called Doug to see the MR2. He loved it, surprised by the deal. $2,500 below market value. As he signed papers, he said, "My friend handles college fleet purchases. 12 cars every 3 years. Not huge, but could you talk?" "Always open to business. I'll ensure a fair deal." "He'll call by week's end." "Thanks," I said. My business grew by valuing people and referrals. Wednesday, my lawyer called. "Mark, got a solution for your issue. Can you meet this afternoon?" "Definitely, I'm ready." Home tension was unbearable. At the meeting, I liked the plan. It'd take 2 weeks, but was worth it. Over those weeks, I moved personal items to a nearby apartment. Tom awaited the 24 cars for work, but I stalled him. The prior weekend, I cleared my closet while Laura and Sophie were out. Laura did laundry midweek, not noticing. And this brings me to that Monday when I told Laura I was leaving. She'd been rude, targeting my heritage and job. In the past, I'd stay at a motel a night or two, depending on my anger. Tuesday morning, I gathered employees for our weekly meeting. Nothing unusual. "Good morning. The cars I bought arrived yesterday, inspected and ready. We won't use Tom anymore. If he asks, say we're changing direction. You're all like family, so this is hard," I said, pausing, wiping a tear. "I've sold the business." Shocked, they listened. "Nothing changes for your roles, except Anna, who'll take my duties with a raise." They congratulated Anna, valuing her work. "Anna, meet me after. I'll advise occasionally, maybe sell, but won't interfere," I assured her. They were relieved I'd stay involved. As we left, Tom was there. Why wasn't I invited? "It was for staff. You're not," I said. He looked stunned. "Cars are here. I'll start repairs." "No need. They're done," I replied firmly, leaving him speechless. "I always inspect them," he protested. "I sold the business. The new owner's going another way," I said, restraining my anger. I'd save it for later. Less was more. "Can't believe you sold it," he said, making it about him. "Pick up your check for the last 2 weeks. Not much. Anna barely used you," I said bluntly. He'd expected car work. Too bad. I felt no pity. With Anna, I said, "Keep this private." "Of course, Mark. I never share what you don't want," she assured. "Here's the plan. I set up Nevada companies. One buys the lot, another the business. I own all shares. I'll divorce Laura eventually, ensuring she doesn't get the business. I've moved out. She doesn't know yet. I'm not returning. She was unfaithful with Tom. Sophie's not mine. Maybe Tom's. I'm not sure if Laura knows, or Tom. They'll learn soon. I won't divorce now, but we'll pay utilities and taxes so she can't claim abandonment and take everything. If she files, I don't want her taking the business. That's why I sold it twice. Let them sort it. Proceeds will be gone by her divorce. I earn little from consulting and commissions. Anna, you'll run daily operations. I'm here for questions, but I trust you." Anna smiled at the ownership news but grew serious hearing about Laura and Tom. A woman I deeply respected. "One last task. Order a new sign and letterhead. We're renaming to River Autos. It signals new ownership to Tom and Laura." I spelled it out. She looked confused. "I'll explain the name later. It tells the story," I said. She trusted me enough to proceed. I said goodbye to everyone, got in my Audi, and drove toward Spokane. 2 hours later, Laura called, faster than expected. Usually I'd leave, she'd call, we'd talk, I'd return. Things would improve briefly, then revert. I answered, curious. "Hello," I said via speakerphone. "Mark, what's happening?" she asked, hesitant. "Just heading to Spokane," I said flatly. "Why?" "Picking up a car." "So what I heard isn't true." "Tom called you," she said, slipping. Figuratively, maybe she meant her confidant. "Don't know," I said. "What did you hear?" "Tom said you sold the business," she revealed. "Why'd he call you?" "Oh, right, my best friend was curious if you knew." "A joke. I was the clueless Pole to him, blind to his betrayal. My family was ashamed I'm a car salesman, so I sold it. No more stigma." "Shouldn't we have discussed it?" she worried, likely about money. "It's my company, owned before marriage. I can sell when I want. Hope the new owner treats my team well." "Did you get a good price?" she fretted, thinking of her lifestyle. I didn't care. "I needed change. I'll job hunt after a break." "The mortgage?" she panicked. "Paid off the house. Just handle utilities and taxes." "Food, gas, insurance?" she asked, near hysteria. "Guess I missed those. Can you work more hours?" "When are you back?" The moment of truth. "I'm not," I said casually. "Remember what you said when I left? I'll cover bills so the power stays on." "You can't, Mark. Come back," she pleaded, desperate. "No, I don't want to," I said coldly. I said, "Please, don't," she cried. "I've decided." "Your daughter?" She tried, appealing to emotion. "Sophie, who's ashamed of her name and my job?" "She's 14. You can't take it personally." "Doesn't matter. I'm done, so no one's embarrassed by me." I hung up, turned off my phone, letting her stew. She'd try calling back, frustrated when I didn't answer. After calming, I enjoyed the drive to Spokane. I figured she'd contact Tom for details, relaying our talk. In Spokane, I turned my phone on. 6 missed messages. 4 from Laura, 1 from Tom, 1 from Anna. I called Anna. "Hi, Anna. Sorry, phone was off. Unwanted calls." "I know. Laura and Tom asked where you were. I said you don't own the place, so you're not back. Hope you're okay." "Great," I said. "If they bother you, threaten to call the police for harassment." "I like that," she laughed. "Mark, you might feel alone, but you're not. We're your family. Always will be." "Thanks, Anna. You know what to say. Your husband's lucky." "He knows. Tells me all the time. Never take it for granted." "I won't," I promised. I considered calling Laura or Tom, but let them worry. Leaving the Audi, I met the lot owner. "Got that Audi I mentioned? Want to swap?" He admired it, inside, out, under the hood. "I'd sell it in days. Sure about this? Feels like I'm winning." "You'll owe me one," I said. "Not here to profit, just want a sports car." 30 minutes later I was driving, top down, loving it. North felt right, off to Boise. Over 2 weeks I traveled northern Idaho, Montana, Wyoming, and Colorado, staying close if Anna needed me. I checked in occasionally. Things were fine. Laura and Tom kept calling, annoyance, apologies, then resentment. I listened, shrugged it off. When they mentioned my canceled card, I laughed. Tom called, accusing me of abandoning Laura and Sophie. I laughed again. My lawyer texted. Laura threatened legal action if I didn't return. I called him. "Kurt speaking. She threatened you?" "Yes, but if you're paying the house, she can't prove abandonment." "Better. I recorded me leaving, her saying don't come back. It's solid." "Send it. If she pushes, I'll show her lawyer. Let them deal." "Thanks. I'll check next week." Roaming the Northwest, the MR2 wasn't luxurious but fun. I got looks, even smiles from middle-aged women. Not my goal. I was still married regardless. Drove to Boise, Missoula, Yellowstone, Denver. No rush. Talked with folks in lots. Some envied a guy in his 40s free to roam. After 3 months and 9,000 miles, I returned to Riverbend. At River Autos, my team, including new hires, welcomed me warmly. In Anna's office, once mine, she smiled, stood, and hugged me. After catching up, I asked, "Can I treat everyone to dinner at the Rusty Grill?" "Close by 5? It was 3 o'clock. "Absolutely, I'll insure it." He announced the plan, leaving them excited. I visited my lawyer. He'd blocked Laura's abandonment claim to seize assets. We planned next steps. At 5 o'clock, I met the team at the Rusty Grill. Dinner was great. Catching up was better. As they left, Anna and I stayed. "Mark, you might feel lost, but you're not. You trusted those you loved." I met her gaze. "Figured it out?" "Took time, but your name tells the story, stuck. You're Polish, but those jokes don't define you. They insult your heritage." "Thanks, Anna. You're why I came back, to see how you managed my duties. You didn't fill my shoes. You made your own path." "Had a great mentor," she said. We hugged. She left to her husband, who seemed truly happy. Back at my apartment, unused for 3 months, the air was stale. I opened windows, letting the evening breeze in, grabbed a beer, and sat on the balcony overlooking the courtyard. Families enjoyed themselves nearby. My mind drifted to Laura and me. Our dreams when we married, now gone. Checking the clock, 8:15, I decided it was time to face them. I drove to my house, still mine, bought before marriage, my name alone on the deed. The yard was unkempt, landscaping neglected. The porch light was on. Laura was likely home. I knocked. Sophie answered, eyes wide. "Dad!" "Hi, Sophie. Mom home." She stammered, yelling, "Mom!" From the kitchen, Laura's tense voice. "What's wrong?" Sophie stared, shouting, "Dad!" Laura appeared, saw me, and gasped. "Where have you been?" "Traveling," I said calmly. Then Tom emerged from the hall in casual clothes. "Oh, the whole family's here. Mom, Dad, child." "What are you talking about?" Laura snapped. "Guess Tom's taken my place. It's his right." Laura looked confused. Sophie seemed angry. "Actually, young lady, you're mistaken," I said, knowing she hated correction. "Tom never worked for me by choice, so I didn't fire him. Bills, utilities, and insurance are covered. Laura cut in. Groceries, gas for the car? You know my job covered extras while you were gone. Do you think you can just return and take over? She challenged. No, I'll wait till you and your friend find another place. They were clearly together in my house. Sophie seemed okay with it. I'm not leaving my home, Laura insisted. Correction, it's mine. Bought before marriage, my name on the deed. You left. It's mine now, she argued. Not legally. I pay utilities and taxes. I'm the owner, even if away briefly. Don't worry, I'll give you till next month's end to move. Take your daughter. Your daughter? She's ours, Laura protested. Couldn't have said it better, I chuckled. Laura looked puzzled. To Sophie, I said, I know you hate being called Polish. Good news, your real father isn't me, it's Tom. Silence fell. Laura whispered, What? Yes, Laura, your actions on our wedding day led to a child, not mine. Good for you, Sophie. You can take your real father's last name, become Sophie Riley. Maybe Mom chose Sophie for her friend. Laura and Tom exchanged looks. His face paled. You, Tom, ready to step up as a father? Tough luck. It's time to take responsibility. Bright side, only 3 years till college. They nearly spoke in unison. I don't believe it. I handed them the DNA report. See for yourselves. They grabbed it, read, and slumped. Sophie, tell them your mom gets divorce papers and an eviction notice next week, I said, walking away. During my absence, I wondered, was her betrayal ongoing? Did she choose me, or was I a pawn? I felt powerless, ignorant, vulnerable. Tom mocked me behind my back, even joking to my face. At the apartment, I drowned thoughts in beer. Next morning, I met my lawyer to start paperwork. I'd likely sell the house, splitting proceeds. As a low earner, I hoped to avoid alimony or support, especially with another man there. The betrayal by Laura and Tom hurt deeply. Rebuilding trust, with anyone, would be hard. Maybe therapy was next. As divorce began, I returned to the dealership, clarifying I wasn't boss, needing one sale weekly for expenses. I insisted on minimal income if faced with support. I emptied accounts, keeping just enough for needs. Colleagues said Tom visited daily for 2 weeks, seeking work from Anna. She refused. He gave up. Without certifications, his only job was at a quick lube shop for $14 an hour. I hoped Laura worked full-time, or they'd struggle. I told the realtor I'd list the house expecting a 50-50 split. Laura had her eviction notice. She'd need to leave before closing. One evening, Laura knocked. I let her in cautiously. What, Laura? Can we talk, Mark? Not sure it's wise. We're in a legal fight. Please, just us, no lawyers. Can we be civil? Fine, let's go to a diner. Witnesses, I said, not trusting her alone. At the diner, after small talk, I asked, Why, Laura? She paused. I cared for both of you. Couldn't choose. So you were with us both? She nodded, looking down. Tom said not to tell you. It'd ruin your friendship. Why say yes to my proposal? I loved you, and Tom. I knew he wouldn't be a good husband. When you proposed, we stopped, focusing on us and the wedding. But on our wedding day, you were with him? Tears fell. Yes, everything was chaotic. Then what? I didn't want to lose him. He felt the same. Now you have him and your child? Nice touch with her name. I didn't catch it till my travels. I didn't know Sophie wasn't yours, she said. Nice to hear, Laura, but I'm not sure you know love. I loved you more than anything. You can't say the same. I loved you, but now I feel only resentment, I said firmly. She saw there'd be no us again. Before leaving, I asked, Did it ever stop? She hesitated, then said, No, we had breaks, but met monthly. I hoped for different, but valued her honesty. One more thing. Last year your attitude shifted. Why? Her face reddened, then hardened. Tom pushed for something new, excluding you. I might have considered it with you, but we couldn't figure it out. His insistence made me resent you for not being open to it. I thought I could have both, blamed you for not agreeing. Did you do it? No, I thought about it, but you left, and it fell apart. You're free to pursue it now. Your choices don't affect me, I said, sensing the end. I paid, and we left. 4 months later, in court, we finalized the divorce. Tom was there. Leaving, Laura said, "Drink, like old times?" "Sure," I agreed. Despite past anger, it had faded. Then I thought, this ends my tie to them. Let them deal with their mess. They deserve each other. Laura will adjust to less. Maybe the resentment lingers. I'm Polish, and I demand respect.
Thanks for watching. Subscribe my channel for more stories.